This episode brought to you by
Audible! Are we doing this? Are we starting now?
audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin for 30 days free and a book to get you started. For your book recommendation, I have no idea.
Ooh, it's me.
Jen.
So this movie is about a true crime author, so I am recommending my favorite true crime book. It is Helter Skelter. It's really good. It's by Vincent Bugliosi.
Awesome. So for 30 days free and a book to get you started, go to audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin. This episode brought to you by Nick B.
Hey, Nick B, what up? Hey, Nick B wanted us to recommend God Country to you.
But they already got funded. They raised like $25,000. You can still check them out on socials and stuff like that, but I think instead we should just make up Nick B Fat.
Well, about God Country, they're about to start filming, so follow them on socials, and I bet you'll probably get some little tidbits and pictures behind the scenes.
And by the time this drops, I will just have gone to their filming party.
Ooh, me too.
I got an invite. Mikey, did you get an invite?
No.
Yes, you did. You both
I'm going to be
did.
out of town. I feel terrible.
We finally hit the big time, guys.
Yo, I heard Nick B was in the royal wedding.
What?
Yeah.
Was he? Was he a bridesmaid?
No, he
No.
was the DJ.
Oh, oh, he played lots of Spice Girls,
Ooh, I love it.
Britpop.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Nick B.
This episode also brought to you by Carl. And Carl didn't have anything specifically he wanted us to plug, but I think we should plug Mikey.
Oh, yeah.
Does Mikey have a Twitch thread like Carl does?
No, Mikey, it's what's for dinner.
Oh.
Ladies. The
Mikey
other,
is single, ladies.
the other white meat.
Other.
The whitest of meats. Carl didn't have anything else he wanted us to plug, but, check out his Twitch stream at twitch.tv/CarlosMOL.
You should. And stay tuned for the continuing adventures of Nick.
Yeah,
B
and thank
Carl.
you guys so much for being our $50 Burn It Down Patreon level subscribers. We really appreciate it.
We
but
really do.
we also appreciate the $25
That's
Patreon level
right.
subscribers. Look what I remembered.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, we got 2 You Can Get It
We
subscribers.
do, and they can, in fact, get it. John
They can.
and Eddie.
Hey, John and Eddie. They do kind of sound like they're maybe going on a road trip together right now, Maybe John's driving, Eddie's in charge of the mixtape.
No, I think it's a band.
John and Eddie. Well, maybe they're a traveling band. Which one do you think plays tambourine?
Eddie.
All of them.
All of them? Both of them?
All both
It's
of
an
them.
all tambourine band.
Play that same song again. You can't. There's no.
It just sounds like me falling down in like a music store over
Like
and
with some
over
tap
again.
shoes on?
Oh my God. But seriously, thank you so much for being our You Can Get It level subscribers. We really, really appreciate it,
We
guys. And if
really
you want
do.
your weekly or monthly shout outs, go over to patreon.com/horrorvirgin and sign up for one of those levels, or really any level. It helps out. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we really do, guys. It really means a lot to us.
We are
Thank you
currently
so much.
saving up to get better gear.
We are, yeah. And
I've
we're
priced
kind-
out some microphones that are way too expensive. But they're like the professional ones that like all the podcasts use. So anyway, every donation you guys make to the Patreon goes towards shit like that.
We're playing around a little bit with some of the stuff we're offering to Patreon levels too. And if you have an idea for something you want on our Patreon level, let us know.
Maybe I should bring in that theme music. Nothing funny happened for you guys?
My grandmother died.
Oh my God.
Oh, welcome to the Horror Virgin,
Wow.
everybody.
It hasn't been like a real funny week.
I just got really high roaded right there.
Yeah.
All right. So we
Oh, wait, we got to remember to introduce ourselves this time. Hey, guys, I'm Jen.
I am the Mikey.
I am the horror virgin Todd. And this week we watched Sinister.
Yes. This was your listener request for April.
Yeah, so good call on the let's find a movie that'll scare the crap out of Todd.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Yes.
Let's do first thoughts real quick.
All right.
So have you guys seen this before?
I had seen this
Yes,
before.
I'd seen it before. I think I rented it pretty soon after it came out.
Fair enough. I have not seen it clearly until tonight, and it was fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah. I think it's
And
pretty scary.
honestly, like there weren't a lot of jump scares because when you guys said that this is going to be a movie that specifically Todd hates, I thought there would just be like sort of like The Nun that was just relentless jump scares. And The Nun subsequently also had no plot. And this actually had a pretty good plot, I felt like.
Yeah, I thought so
But it was
too.
just really creepy from Jump Street. Like there was no section that wasn't creepy. And the jump scares were like really effective.
Yeah. And there really weren't that many jump scares either, but there was a lot of building to jump scares.
Yeah, there was only like...
Oh, and that really fucks me up. Because it's like, and then sometimes nothing happens.
Right, exactly.
So it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And then you're
and then
left
the sun comes up.
Yeah, and you're left with blue balls for the
and
jump
you just
scare.
got your baseball bat on the couch like a chump.
Like a bitch. It's so scary. Mikey, what did you think?
I like these movies better on the second viewing. Like I watching them with y'all is way more. Like I saw it in theaters. I thought it was good, but I didn't think I was ever gonna watch it again until you guys. And then I thought it was better the second time.
That was good, but I didn't know it was gonna be in this podcast. So
I didn't foresee this being another part of my life.
I was like, I'll call you.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I didn't think I'd ever watch these kind of movies. Like before the podcast, when a trailer came on for a scary movie, I'd be like, fuck no, I'm never gonna watch this. So I just fast forward through it, or I would leave the movie theater and come back in to quote unquote go to the bathroom. I can't tell you how many times I've done that.
Well, so I saw this and I think it's got such a vague title, and I think I was kind of confusing with Insidious, so I was kind of a hater on this for a while, and then I finally rented it because I heard it was really good and I really liked it when I watched it.
Is Insidious stupid?
No.
But
Oh, I'm sorry. You said you confused it with Insidious and thought
I
it was.
did confuse it with Insidious.
Yeah, because it's
so
got
I
a lot
thought,
of eyes in the
right,
name.
exactly, and
It does.
like,
You're not wrong.
the title doesn't really tell you anything about the movie, and I just
No.
thought it was going to be like a jump scare factory, and I just kind of, I don't know.
I really liked it. I thought it's probably had the best creepy tone of a movie that I've seen in a while.
It is
Oh,
super
yes.
creepy,
And like
yeah.
the sound is what makes it creepy because really we're just watching Ethan Hawke watch a bunch of home movies that aren't that scary.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, this is like Ethan Hawke got the rough cut of Super 8.
I'm down for a movie where I just get to stare at Ethan Hawke for a long time.
I love Ethan Hawke, man. From like Dead Poet Society through all of his stuff. If it's
Reality
not
Bites,
scary,
I think he is dreamiest in Reality Bites.
Love it.
So the movie starts with a hanging family from a tree.
Oh yeah, and like Super 8 footage.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It starts with a family hanging out.
Oh my God.
I remember I rented this, and that was like the menu, the DVD menu page.
What?
Was them
What?
just hanging from that tree? Yeah, yeah, because it starts off, and that's the very first thing you see, and then we're into the movie.
So and then you started the movie from that menu?
Yeah, you push play from the family.
I
like,
would
hanging
take
in
it
the
out,
tree.
break it in half, and throw it away.
All right, so we got our family hanging out, and that, I mean, we're making light of it, but it is really disturbing.
It is very I hate
They're
this
hooded,
movie.
so you
Very
don't
first
see
thing
their
you see.
faces.
That's
They
true.
are hooded, and there's, well, we don't find this out yet, but there's 5 people in the family and only 4 hanging.
So there was no treehouse or anything in the tree. Just them.
No, I thought it would be like a hereditary situation too. And it had sort of hereditary-ish vibes, but there was no treehouse, but it was sort of pagan,
Yeah.
which hereditary was.
Demon involved.
I don't know. So I don't know if hereditary was a demon. And I don't think this was a demon either. It was like a pagan deity.
Yeah, Payman is a demon, I think. Yeah, from
Oh,
Hereditary.
that's from Hereditary. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying pagan.
But it's
I'm
a
sorry.
cult that worships that demon.
Payman, yes. But
Yeah.
not, this one wasn't him. It was another one.
This
It
was
something else.
Bagul, and I've got some fun facts about him.
Magul?
Bagul.
Bagul.
Bagul, okay. All right, so anyway, we see the sawing the tree. That branch falls, and that branch falling raises the family up, and they all hang.
Yeah, that's
and then
real
you see the
sad.
saw fall, and then it's nothing.
Yeah, it's like a ghost saw.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you don't see what's actually cutting the tree. You just see the saw moving.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's moving from up in the tree. And it does look like it may be a ghost cutting or like a spirit cutting it because you have no idea what's happening at this point. It's the
Or
very
maybe it's,
beginning.
all right. So the next thing we see is Ethan Hawke dreamboat moving into his new house.
Right, which turns out to be the same house we were just seeing the hanging at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't find that out yet. And then we see the sheriff of the town, who is Fred Thompson.
Which,
Oh,
Too soon, Mike.
Mikey.
Too soon, Mike.
Just trying
I love Fred Thompson.
I don't want a correction.
So Senator Fred Thompson,
Yeah.
former Law and Order star Fred Thompson, plays the sheriff of this town. And we actually also see 2 deputies, Deputy so-and-so and some other
Deputy
no
other
name.
guy.
Deputy other guy. Senator Fred Thompson walks up to not Senator Ethan Hawke,
Right. Exactly.
and he's like, "Get out of my town,
Yeah.
you stupid book nerd."
And this is when we find out that Ethan Hawke is a true crime novelist and that he's not very kind to the cops in his novels.
No,
Or his-
because-
not
Let me-
novelist. I'm sorry, true crime nonfiction.
Let me
writer.
set the premise.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Ethan Hawke wrote a book 10 years ago called Kentucky Blood.
The fact that you guys said that together was weird and funny to me. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's very loud.
And in that book, he wrote a true crime book where he like discovered more evidence
That the police had overlooked
overlooked
from
Yeah, I mean-
incompetence.
incompetence.
Honestly, if this happened today, he would just be a pod star. He'd be.
He
had his
would.
own-
So all police hate him. He discovered the true killer of that book, I would guess.
in that one book, but then he also said that in one of his other books, because apparently he's written a couple that were not
like
successful.
3 other ones, it seemed like. I might be
Right.
wrong about the number, but it was like 2 or 3.
And they don't explain how this happened, but Fred Thompson says that his theory, like, let a killer go free or something.
Yeah, and he ruined people's lives because of it.
Yeah, and fucked up evidence and stuff.
Yeah, and Senator Fred Thompson does admit that Kentucky Blood was an amazing book. He did great work, but all the other books that since then have been shit. And you've been fucking up, Ethan.
Right.
If you don't get it right, I'm going to leave you.
So Fred Thompson was like, Ethan Hawke moving to my town. I'm going to read all his books and have real critical opinions of them.
Hey, this is not the first sheriff that has read all the books that a writer who came to town has written.
That's true.
In order to help, solve crimes.
It turned out a little bit better for Fred Thompson, though.
Well, yeah, because he didn't get shot in the chest by Ann Wilkes or whatever.
Annie Wilkes, yeah. That was Bunny McDougal's husband.
Oh, Bunny
read
McDougal.
All of Paul Sheldon's books.
The best part of Misery is that Bunny McDougal is single by the end. Am I right?
Be pretty.
Anyway, so all the cops don't like him, and he says that he keeps getting tickets.
And he also points to the house and said, this is really in poor taste, because they sort of insinuate that what happened with the hanging happened in that house.
Yeah, we find out just a couple minutes after. And the wife says, you didn't move us into a house that's right down the street from a crime scene, did you?
And Ethan's like, no, I didn't, winky
Winky
blinky.
blinky. Yeah.
So this is when I think he's a bad dude.
Oh, yeah. We're 3 minutes in, and I hate the main character of this movie.
Why would you lie to your wife like this?
Well, because she's a woman and you're an idiot. I don't know. Like, there's no...
You saved that.
I heard that.
He saved that. He saved that.
I said he's an idiot. Like, there's no way that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And they have a huge fight about it.
Yep.
Oh, no, I would love to move my wife and 2 kids into
You're married?
Hypothetically, I'd love to move my wife and 2 kids into a house where 4 people were hung in the backyard.
Well, I think.
Oh, and one daughter's missing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Maybe
and
she's still in the house.
How long ago did the crime happen before they moved in?
It doesn't say, but I imagine it was like a year ago.
No, it has to have been recent, because at the very beginning, right after he has that conversation with his wife about, you didn't move it down 2 doors down from the crime scene, did you?
I don't think that's quite how
she's
sounded.
British in this film.
You didn't move me right down from a crime scene, did you, mate? I can't do accents. I'm sorry.
She's from Dickens verse. I'd like some more, sir.
I love Oliver.
Aww.
Did you move me down from a crime scene?
No, I didn't. Let's get in the house, mate. And then anyway, so Ethan Hawke goes into the house and he looks out the window and the tree is still like in the same position.
And it's like a fresh cut.
And it looks like a fresh cut. It looks like it has been maybe a month at most since they've been hung.
Yeah, he was like, we need to get this limb removed. We can't just have it hanging around.
Oh.
Oh my God, it's a family tree.
What? I love it. Okay. I just realized that little John back. All right. Okay. Cool. So anyway, when we realize that tree is the same tree and we then know for sure that they are living in the house,
yes.
What does it cut to after that?
Well, let's say
I don't quite
first,
remember the order.
Because I think what he's doing is he's thinking that he's going to sell a bunch of books and the ends are going to justify the means. And she's not going to be mad once he makes all these billions of dollars from this book that he's going to write.
Sure.
That's how he's excusing it to himself.
Yeah, and honestly, not necessarily a bad plan. If that place was not haunted with the pagan ghost of demon hell,
it might have worked out okay.
Then they would sell a shitload of books.
I'd like to interject.
That house would be worth a shitload more money, so they could sell the house and move wherever they want, whatever.
Right.
But it didn't work out that way.
I'm going to say that in the film, they say we still own our old house.
They do.
He could have moved there by himself, wrote the book, and not put his family in a situation where they're living in a murder house.
True. Oh, no, I'm not saying he did anything that was right, because what he did was fucked
But
up.
the ends don't justify the means if you have other options.
Exactly. No, I'm not saying I think the ends justify the means. I'm saying that's how he's convincing himself.
Right.
And their old house was a baller house.
Dude, it was. I know.
You don't see it
No
till the
wonder
end.
you're
We'll get there at the
poor.
end.
I know they were talking about the whole movie, how they had no money, and they went home to a mansion.
Right.
Yeah.
I was pissed.
I know. It didn't have any furniture in it because I think they had to burn it all. But
I was like, I hope your daughter kills you with an axe. All right, let's
and
move
then you
on.
got your wish. Okay, so then we see him going upstairs and he looks in the attic and he sees a box full of home movies.
I think it actually says home movies on it, right?
It does, yeah. And there's a scorpion right next to it.
Yeah, they do have like
And
a
then
lot
they
of
sting
creatures
you.
in the attic, don't they?
They do.
It's
Okay.
really just a scorpion and a snake later on.
That's a lot of creatures in the attic.
It's
Todd.
two. It's definitely not squirrels, deputy dumbass.
Oh, we'll get to squirrel talk. So
Welcome to Squirrel Talk. It's nuts.
Oh my God.
You save that goal for squirrel talk, Mikey.
I love this.
Don't blow all your nuts right now. Oh, okay. But so the scorpion is one of the like familiars or animal symbols of this demon. Which
Oh,
is
is
why,
it?
Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right. So he's found the tapes in the attic. And then this is when we get the wife ultimatum.
Oh, yeah. So we're 50 minutes into the movie, and the wife is already like, listen, if you don't write another banger, I'm getting a divorce.
Yeah.
It's more complicated than that.
It
Not
is.
really.
I'm taking the wife's side throughout this whole movie because she comes in and she's like,
I mean,
you
yeah.
moved us around again for one of your crazy plots.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not spending any time with your kids. And when you write, it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
And you should just write textbooks and be done with it.
And your
if this-
only good book was 15 years ago, 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
she said, it's been 10 years since then. That may have been your 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Why don't you come be with the family for real? If this isn't a hit, we're done with this.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you're done with me and
Yeah.
us.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm done with you.
If you don't write a banger, I'm out.
Yeah.
That was her ultimatum.
And
Yeah.
I imagine that this is probably not the first time she's had that
Yeah,
conversation
'cause he
with him.
took it like a champ. He's like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it didn't seem
I
like
mean,
it came
it-
out of left field.
Yeah, in his defense, he was like, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to writing textbooks or
Right.
whatever he was. I can't remember what.
Oh, slumming it in the academic
Yeah, I
writing
can't remember what
field.
the slumming it was.
Yeah,
for
but she's
him,
like,
but think
I
it was
will leave
textbook.
you.
Yeah,
And he's like, okay.
she's not the only family member to give him that same talk.
That's true because his daughter, and I don't think we talked about this, but the daughter, when she's painting on her walls, she said she doesn't want to live there, and
Yeah.
so the dad is like, if we don't like it after I sell my book, we'll go back. But you have
Right.
to try to like.
And she's
yeah.
like, fine, fine, fine. And that's the scene where they kind of set up that she is allowed to paint on her walls, just not outside of her room.
Right.
Right.
And I just get the sense with this family that they're at the end of their rope with all of his bullshit trying to support the family by writing.
It's almost
but,
like
yeah.
they're hanging from that tree in the backyard.
It is just like that.
You know, Mikey, I was about to say it's just like they're hanging from that tree in the backyard.
And he's a narcissist because he's recorded all his interviews and he watches them at night.
In that scene, though, when he's watching that Kentucky Blood interview, he recognizes when he's being a douche on TV. Did you
Yeah.
guys see that?
Uh-huh.
Ethan Hawke is a great actor. Like,
He
say what
really
you will
is.
about his like plethora of films that he's been in.
Yeah, but
He's
everybody does bad stuff.
Yeah, he's done
you know?
some shitty movies. He's done some amazing movies, but he's always a good actor.
And always super dreamy.
And from that scene, I read that the guy on the screen was less douchey than he is now.
Yeah.
Because the question was, are you in it for the fame? Or are you in it for the
Right.
justice for the victims? And he was like, of course I'm in it for the justice. And then like him in present day is like, I'm not in it for the justice.
Well,
Right.
he even said something in the interview of that. It was sort of like, I would never write a book for money or something
Right.
like that.
right.
I can't
And
remember
it
what it was,
seemed
but-
like genuine.
My Favorite Murder talked about this a little bit. They were like, this 15 minutes of fame, this kind of thing, it doesn't last forever. So you can't get used to it. You can't get addicted to it. And you can't think it's going to last forever because it doesn't last forever for just about everybody. And I think it just shows like he had this idealized vision of what his career was going to be. And he just peaked and couldn't maintain it. And now he's really missing that. And I think he got into the business with good intentions, but just wasn't able to keep it going.
It's exactly like when I won a 5K in my age group.
You won a 5K in your age group?
Yes.
That's awesome. Was it your actual age group or
Yeah.
did you lie on that?
30 to 39. That was my 15 minutes. I'll never win a 5K again. That was ridiculously dumb.
How did you win that 5K?
yeah, what was your time?
It was like 26.
Damn, I could have destroyed that.
I know. I was like, either y'all didn't time like half the people here,
Yeah.
or it was at like a kindergarten. It was like an elementary school's 5K. So
Oh, well, that's why. You're the only person there in your 30s. Oh, we solved it.
no, I got like a super big trophy.
Everyone
And, like,
else is like 12.
And immediately calling the police because there's this weird guy in their 5K.
just give him a trophy. He'll leave us alone.
Shut up, kid. It's my trophy.
Just tell
It's
him-
my time now.
Were you
Shove
drunk
it out
right
the door.
then?
That was my 15 minutes of athletic fame.
And then we go into his investigation room,
Which is the biggest room in the house.
He is such a jerk.
He's a douchebag, man.
Right.
And it's got the nicest carpet. It's the only red carpet in the whole place.
He took all of the blue string in the house to put on his walls.
Wait, I've got to talk about this. He makes one of those cork boards, which I did this at work because someone replaced the salt in my boss's salt shaker with sugar, and she wrote out this like ridiculously long, like all caps email, like really mean email. And so like I made a fake cork board trying to figure out who like replaced it.
Did
Like
you crack
Charlie
the
from
case?
It's Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
And I hung it up at the office.
Did you crack the case?
Oh, a guy got fired the next week, and I started the rumor that he got fired because he did that.
Oh my God.
Did
How
you
are
start
you
the rumor?
employed?
I know.
I don't know.
Are you sure you didn't start the rumor before he got fired?
Anyway, he makes a corkboard and he asks the dumbest questions. Because
He asks thinkers that he's going to ponder as he's writing his book.
he like puts a picture up of the family and he's like writes out, who murdered the family?
Yeah, and then in the
Where
attic,
is Stephanie?
he takes a picture of the attic and then he draws a box on a Post-it and he sticks the Post-it in the middle where the box was.
And then he writes, who put the film here?
Yeah,
I'm
who
like-
put the box in my attic?
I mean,
And it's at this point when he finds it. Well, okay, we haven't gone into it, but like he has the crime scene photos where there's no box in there, and then he finds the box. So he finds evidence and doesn't call the police. So
yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
gonna,
in this scene, he starts watching the evidence.
yeah, so he watches the first video, the one that we've already seen with the tree hanging. And this is the one that happened at his house. So presumably he already knows that this has happened and he
Yes.
knows what happened.
That's not new information.
Exactly. He
Right.
just is actually seeing it now. And I imagine he didn't know there was a video of it.
there isn't. There's no video, so he doesn't call the police immediately.
He doesn't.
And there's
because
5 other videos.
there are. And this is the next one he watches is called Barbecue. And it is the car video.
This
I
is the one
do-
from the 60s?
I think so. 60s or 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the videos have like different years. It goes back like 30 years, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
But I do love
The titles?
video.
Yeah, on the tins
That's
or whatever.
totally me as a demon. I'm like the demon of puns.
It is real sad though. Like these videos are
Yeah, I
mess
mean,
with me.
because you're watching a family burn in their car, or you're
Exactly.
watching a family get tied to their pool
Chairs.
Pool lawn chair.
Yeah, pool lawn chairs and get pulled into their pool.
Side note, the creepiest part was like the films all start with people filming them while they're not being
Yeah.
watched.
Right, yeah. They
Before
don't
they're
all
murdered.
start that way, but they do, at least half of them do, and
I
that's
don't like
creepy.
that. That part is creepier than me than the actual
I
murders.
know, it makes me sad because it's like
Because
a
anybody could
family.
be filming us right now.
So then he hears something creepy in the hallway, and this is the first of the nighttime creepiness. I would say a fourth of this movie is Ethan Hawke walking around his pitch dark
Oh,
house.
it's way more than a fourth. It's
Even
like
during the
3/4.
day.
Yeah.
Like there are sections of the house that are completely dark, and it's like they can't afford electricity.
Oh, it's almost
Yeah.
like they painted their whole house navy blue on the inside, and that's not a great choice.
It's the worst.
How many times did you say turn on a goddamn light?
90 to 95 times conservatively.
So Ethan walks into the creepy hallway. Yeah, so then he sees a box, and I was like, oh, is there more videos in there? But
Oh my
no,
God, it starts moving. Oh, this is
Yeah.
when I made the joke about them having the creepiest UPS man, though.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Because he's like creeping down the hallway or whatever, and like you just hear sounds coming from the attic above them,
Mm-hmm.
and then he sees the box. Was it in their kitchen?
I think
It's
it
like
was just in the
hall.
hallway.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he walks towards it, and then the box starts to move, and then
Mm-hmm.
this kid kind of slides out of it and starts screaming.
backwards, like back bends out.
Yeah, it was very creepy. And then Ethan run towards the box, which is
Yeah.
the opposite of what I would do.
Yeah.
But I didn't recognize it was their son.
Yeah, I
So
didn't
he
either.
grabs their son and takes him outside and is like trying to calm him down because he has night
I don't like
terrors.
this part because I think if he came out of the box like that, it would have tipped over.
Ooh, the
Also-
box would have broken. Like those
Yeah.
boxes cannot hold that much weight.
Yeah.
But whatever. It was very creepy.
It was
very
very
unsettling.
But I also don't think that if some creepy shit happened in my house, the first thing I would do is take my son outside in the middle of the night. Next thing is the pool scene.
Oh, you mean where he's watching the film
Yeah,
again?
so it's the next day and he's back to investigating and he's still wearing the same outfit because I really think he wears the same outfit.
Oh,
for
he
the
starts
entire
drinking a lot
movie.
of whiskey when he's watching all these families get murdered.
Right.
Oh, and then he goes to call the police because he's found all this new evidence.
That's right,
And then
yeah.
he's like, nah.
Yeah, because he walks over and he sees all his 7 copies of Kentucky Blood. He's like, no, I got another bestseller on the way. And then he hangs up.
His wife literally just told him, if you don't write another banger,
Yeah.
I'm out. And he loves his wife and kids, man.
No,
He's like,
she was like, just choose us. She has said your family over your writing probably a bunch of times.
But he's not Maroon 5. Like, he can't just smash out hit after hit.
She doesn't
Take off
care
layer
about
after layer.
she doesn't care about the hits. She cares about the kids.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I
she's
get that.
also saying she's supporting him through this too. She's just like, look, this is the last I have in me.
Well, I mean, sure. And she is very much at this point like a stay-at-home mom who is like being fully supported by Ethan Hawke's career, right, as
Yeah.
a writer. But it's gotta suck because he's always like researching and losing his mind writing these books. So she's sort of like a single parent. She's like, listen, I would rather get a job and have you get a job somewhere
Right.
and do that
Let's
and
just
just
be
forget
normal.
about it. Yeah, and have a regular life than live this life. And he's like, no, I'm gonna write a banger.
And
Which is
we're,
great.
we're still going to have our
Thought
happy
about those.
ending, which is bullshit.
Oh,
Happy
yeah.
endings in life are not a real thing.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so the next day he's back to investigating and he watches the pool scene.
I mean, when you say investigating, he's really just watching home movies.
Exactly.
Like he's not
and
really
drinking.
investigating yet. Although, yeah, he's getting shit-faced and watching home movies.
I investigate all the time.
He's doing the exact same thing a divorced dad does when his kids leave him.
Yeah.
So watching movies and drinking is just like, that's investigating?
Don't forget about the Post-its because he writes questions on Post-its.
Oh, don't forget. Who's this other family that got murdered? Fucking.
What
a
weekend do I have the kids?
Detective Obvious. Oh my God. Why does he ask such blatant, obviously questions?
Because they're thinkers. He's going to maul them. I write questions
Jen,
on
are they
my board at
thinkers
work.
or are they stinkers? Nailed it. So anyway, he's watching more home movies. This is where he sees the pool scene and he sees the face in the pool.
He does.
Underwater. I fucking hated this.
And this is after we see a rope pulling like family members strapped to weighted lawn chairs into the water, and it's really messed up.
I mean, they're drowning. Yeah, like
Yeah.
They are dying.
All of these Super 8 films, I mean, it is a family getting murdered, but it's like a family getting slow, realistically murdered too. It messes with me.
So he's looking in this pool and he sees that face and he gets right up against the screen he's projecting the
Yeah,
Super
and
8
then he
footage on.
touches it.
Yeah, why would you do that?
caress.
He's the
To make sure
worst
it's real.
investigator.
And this is one of those times where it's building and building and building and building and building and building towards a jump scare, and there isn't one.
Right.
It just burns the Super 8 footage.
Which is realistic if you pause the
Sure.
film too
Yeah,
long.
yeah. And then he has to go online and like do some research on Alta Vista about how you fix or cut Super 8 footage.
Dear
So-
Jeeves, where is the Miller family?
Yeah. So he figures out how to stitch it back together, and then he goes back, and this time he can't see the face.
Right.
So he just figured out like 3 other families got murdered. He should have just called the police. Fred Thompson would have been like,
He
been
tried
there.
to,
No.
but his greed got in the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
His
that's the
wanting
true
to stay
demon.
with his wifeness got in the
Yeah,
way.
his wanting to write a banger so his wife wouldn't leave him.
This
got
is
in the
not his
way.
motivation. His motivation is himself, not his wife.
That's true.
He chooses himself and his pride and his greed every time above his family,
Yep.
which leads to his and his whole family's downfall.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but anyway, so he does stitch the Super 8 footage back together, and this time as he's watching the pool scene, he can't see the face because it cuts where it burned
Yeah.
before.
So he decides to digitize the footage by setting up his video recorder.
Yeah, just setting up a camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he sets up the camera and starts watching all the footage again, but this time recording it
Right.
and going through frame by frame. And this is where he starts to see more of that face.
Yeah, he hits enhance. Mikey yelled enhance at the screen a bunch of
You
times.
can't enhance Super 8 film.
Enhance. Yeah. And one thing I do like about this demon, because this is the first time we start to see Bagul, is
Is it Bagul?
It is,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that was the name. My
It's
bad.
such a creepy image, but they don't overuse it. You know, I feel like they
No,
use
because
it.
I think it kind of looks stupid.
Exactly. I feel like they use it just the right amount to stay creepy, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we hear mom come home screaming at the son, and we find out that son wanted to start his first day of school off with a bang and drew with Sharpie on a whiteboard, which is not cool, drew a picture of
Spoken as a former teacher.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't get that shit off, man. So some teacher out there has a Sharpie whiteboard with a murdered family hanging from a tree that some of the kids in that class probably knew those kids.
Yeah, 'cause
So
it happened
fucked
recently.
up.
What if he was just playing Hangman?
The word was murder.
He lost
Yeah.
4 times.
The word was murder.
Aw.
So yeah,
They
but
did.
no, I mean, he may have just heard the story because he didn't know they were living in the murdered family's house
Right.
either. But kids being kids, he's a 12-year-old. I bet other 12-year-olds would tell him, be like, "Hey, you live in the murdered family's house."
Yeah.
And then Ethan Hawke runs out of his office and is like, "What are you guys fighting about?"
Oh, they're yelling at each other. Yeah, yeah.
What?
She has a conversation with her co-parent who is also in charge of discipline.
Yeah, she
Who
fucking
is
tattles on her kid, man.
Theoretically in charge of
That's
discipline.
parenting.
She narcs on him, dog.
What? The son was like, "Oh, you just gonna take mom's side because she's the parent?" And he's like, "Yeah, probably."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it works. Did you draw that tree on the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
absolutely.
fucked up. Yeah.
Whether I was fucking your mom or not, you still did something wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so Trevor goes to his room and can't come out till dinner.
Go back to your
Right.
box.
Am I living in a box? Am I living in a cardboard box? That's an actual song by a band called Living in a Box.
Is it really?
Yeah. Off the album, Living in a Box. I'm not even joking. Look it up. No, seriously. So anyway, Trevor goes to his room and mom and dad have a combo real quick. Mom is mad because Trevor now knows what the dad is investigating.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like, he figured out the gruesome murder because that family hung from trees and like, you're hurting our family. And he's like, yeah, he'd find out sometime. He's 12 years old. He's just a boy. He's
Kids
fine.
talk.
He's a man.
And we didn't say this earlier, but they had a conversation about making sure that his study door always stays locked and that he always keeps all of his investigating images inside the study and that the kids always stay out. But we see that Trevor is really curious about all of these things. And he's like, I want to know what happened. I want to hear from him. I'm old enough. And I mean, he's 12. And
Not
I'm
old enough to know, but he's old enough to be like aware of what's going on and shit and be clearly interested because it's what his dad does. That would be interesting to anybody, whether his dad was a fireman or a true crime writer, any of that. But anyway, so they fight at this point about the fact that the son knows what the dad is researching. Mom does still not know that the house is that house.
Right.
Okay, and so he's investigating and we get to Sleepy Time video, which is the throat slitting video.
Yes. And there really isn't much to this video. It really is just a knife being held and then the parents getting their throats cut.
Yeah, but
and
the
then
video's right next to their faces.
Yeah,
but I liked how they did this because you're watching Ethan Hawke's face and you see this throat slitting in the reflection in his glasses.
It was very cool.
I thought it was really well done. Also, it kind of took the edge off of like it wasn't so hard to watch when you're watching that because you can look at Ethan Hawke's beautiful face also.
And he's drinking a bunch of whiskey while I watch.
Oh yeah, he's getting shit faced. But when the knife goes in to kill the younger brother, that's when it shows him really drinking and it focuses on him drinking and not what's happening behind him, which I was grateful for.
I was too.
Because I didn't want to watch a little kid get his throat slit, although that is what happens. You just don't really see it.
And I have a fun fact about this, but I might talk about it now. So when they filmed this, Ethan Hawke hadn't seen any of these videos first.
That's a good idea.
So every time he was watching those, these were his actual reactions to watching them.
Oh.
That's a good idea, man. Although he's a great actor. I'm sure he could have done it either way, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, especially when we get to ones like the lawnmower scene. Like, I just imagine having to watch these.
Oh, so that's like a real jump scare for him.
It really is, yeah. Like, he didn't have any idea what was going to be on him. Okay, so then he's watched this throat-slitting video, and he's done his investigating and finding out that the murderer family...
And he writes a post-it note. Who slit their throats? Yeah. I'm going to answer the big questions.
Those were podcast episode titles.
Who slit their throat? Where did this box come from?
Welcome to my podcast. Who is the murderer?
I bet that podcast exists.
All right, so then he's doing his investigating, and then the power goes out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So he's creeping around his house with his...
the two watt light bulbs went out in the background.
Because that's the only light that exists in this entire house.
I hate this house so much.
Yeah. So he's wandering around and he's got this teeny tiny little flashlight. It's like a little cop flashlight, you know?
It's the iPhone flashlight.
Yeah, he's using his iPhone at this point.
Yeah.
The cop flashlight comes in later.
And it's like an iPhone, I want to say 4.
It's early iPhone tech. It's like a 2012 iPhone.
So he's creeping around his house and then he hears noises in the attic and he goes up into the attic and he sees like at the top of a box. And I guess it's the top of this
It's the
video
top of the home
box.
movies box. Yeah.
But it's overturned and he picks it up and there's a snake underneath it.
Because it started to move.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, the devil or the possession or whatever. But no, it's just a snake. Yeah.
And so the
snakes are scary.
The snake headbutts him and he ends up falling through the ceiling and he has a bandage on his calf.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Mikey, you didn't catch that?
No.
I was 100% like, oh, Mikey's been here.
Right.
This is 1000% your story. Yeah.
Oh my God, this movie's about me.
You just detached so much from it that you didn't recognize it.
Here's my face. I'm like, oh, that's I don't like snakes.
Mikey 100%'s like, I get it, man. That shit actually happens.
Yeah, they're like,
in
how
real
would that
life.
even happen? I'm like, yeah, your calf, you tear your calf muscle when you run from snakes.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, listen to the April Fool's Day episode. It's a hilarious story. So he falls to the ceiling, and he had his video camera the whole time, or was it the iPhone camera he was filming on?
It was the iPhone.
But before he falls through the ceiling, he turns the box over and he sees the pictures that have been drawn there.
That's when he starts recording.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's when he turns on the recorder so he can actually get the drawings on the box, the inside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he starts to back away from that, that's when he falls to the floor because the snake scared him away, right?
Right.
And then it kind of cuts to him in the kitchen in the morning with like a paramedic wrapping up his leg.
and deputy so-and-so.
I don't
Right.
think it's in the morning. I think it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I think
still.
that's
Oh, it could be.
It's
I
like
honestly
right
don't know.
after it
Yeah, yeah.
happened.
His wife, real deep sleeper.
And so then we get squirrel talk with Deputy So-and-so, where they just stand. And there are times in this movie that are really funny, just like real dry humor. And a lot of times it has to do with this cop being around.
Yeah, because Ethan Hawke was like, yeah, I heard a lot of sounds like someone was walking around up there. And he's like, well, you can't get in there from down here.
Right.
If it's closed, there's no way to do that. So it's got to be like squirrels or something.
And you think he's being a dick at first because you think just all the cops hate him. But I think he's just like very dry and...
No, he's like logicking. He's like, he's copping it out, policing.
So he starts talking. He's like, hey, and he's real bumbling and kind of, he's like, can you sign my Kentucky Blood book?
But I forgot to bring it.
I did.
And Ethan Hawke is like, yeah, I can definitely just give you one. I've got like a few in my office.
Right. And so then they walk into the office and he sees his Charlie from It's Always Sunny board with all the clues that he has not told the police about. He's like, oh, no, it's personal property. You got to get out of here. And then the dude's like, dude, I want to be that guy in your acknowledgments. I want to be the deputy so-and-so that helps you out with all the stuff.
And he's real nice. He's like, oh my God, is that a cork board with all the string attached?
know.
I see your questions like, who's the murderer?
That is a brilliant question. Why did I never ask myself when I was investigating this? That's why we never found the murderer.
Just not asking the right
I
questions.
just ran out of Post-its and string,
Who
man.
even is Stephanie?
I know.
We pulled him into the interrogation room. We asked him, are you the murderer? He said no, we had to let him go.
We kept asking who was Stephanie. We should have been asking where was Stephanie. Of
Absolutely.
course, yeah. But he also says, dude, Fred Thompson doesn't like you very much, so we got to do this on the down low.
Yeah.
But I would like to help you solve this crime and be a big book star.
I like Deputy So-and-so. He's a
I do
good
too,
character.
yeah.
He's going to be in It Chapter 2. He's going to be Eddie.
No!
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I hope he got better because he's not good in this movie.
I think he was playing a Deputy Dreamy who's just a little bit bumbling, but also is really into true crime. So Ethan Hawke once, he says, I want to be your deputy so-and-so. I'm just a deputy standing in front of Ethan Hawke asking to be his so-and-so. So once he...
and Ethan Hawke is like, I accept your so-and-so.
Yeah. Aw.
And so,
Here's how you can help me.
right, exactly.
And he says, can you track all this shit down? Can you basically do all the research? So the cop then calls and he says he's figured out who this one family was. And I think he finds the other family.
It was the Martinez family, the car burning family, because they didn't know who that was. But he does find them and realize where it's from. I think there was a family from the 60s.
And this, I think, is when they find out that they both lived in the same house.
Yes.
So he's looking on his laptop, he's doing his investigating, and then he sees a video of himself, and it's the video of him falling through the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't realize had been recorded, and
Yes.
we see the children's hands on him.
Like pushing him.
Yeah, child-sized hands pushing him through the ceiling.
Ghost hands. That was scary. This is the first time where with the ghost hands, we didn't think it was could have been an actual serial killer up until
Right.
this point in the movie.
And this is also the first time where I think he starts to realize that he might be in danger rather than just
Yes.
hearing weird shit.
Yet he doesn't change anything or care.
No.
No, because he's got a mission. He doesn't want his wife to leave him.
But this is where the paranormal...
No, he wants money and fame.
This is where the paranormal shit starts to happen. Like,
Yeah.
you see the in the laptop screen where he's got the white face kind of paused.
Uh-huh.
It turns and looks at him.
That's right,
And then
yeah.
looks back to where it was. The second he turns back and looks at
He's
it.
like,
He was on creepy Facebook.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Which anytime you log into Facebook, that's Mark Zuckerberg looking at you like that.
right. And when
Yeah.
you look away, you just go,
Except join the Facebook group because we got some bangers in there, man. It's a lot of fun.
We
in our
do.
Facebook
Wait.
group.
This is 2012. That was actually Tom from MySpace.
It probably was.
right. Just trying to creep back into fame and popularity. So the next thing, so he's also looking at these box pictures that he's taken a picture of. And he sees that there's Bagul. So he sees the family, and then he sees the
symbol.
And it says Mr. Boogie. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he's already noticed the symbol.
He's investigating. He finds out there's like a creepy satanic symbol, and then like drawings of the murders he found. There's a Mr. Boogie in each of them, and he gets progressively fatter as the kids draw him.
Yeah, he did get progressively overweight. Yeah.
You know, it's over the course of a life, your size changes. You know, you have to accept yourself.
Yeah, until you're like during adolescence, you grow taller. For the rest of your life, you just grow wider.
I know, dude.
Jesus, that really hit home for Jen.
This is the scariest part of the podcast. Mr. Bagul's been eating too many children, really let himself go.
I know.
You gotta be like Leslie Vernon, man. Commit to that cardio.
I know. So he's looking at these box pictures and he notices that a progressively larger Mr. Boogie is standing in each one of them. And then he goes and looks back because he's seen him in the pool and he notices that on the picture that's been drawn on the box that Mr. Boogie is in the same place that he saw him on the video. So he goes back and looks at all of the videos and he starts to see Mr. Boogie in all of them.
Yes.
In the car when he's like in the back of the garage. And then
Yeah, this is like a Mr. Boogie Where's Waldo montage.
It is,
murder.
yeah. Yeah, and so then he sees in the tree video, he sees him in the very back in the bushes.
Is this when he
Special
takes the
effects.
photo over and like holds it up against the window and
Yeah.
then sees it there and
Yes.
then fuck that.
Yeah, he takes the picture
Shit
and he
was
goes
so
and
scary.
like lines it up with the actual bushes and then pulls it down and the face is actually there. And he goes, "Whoop," and then he's gone, I think.
But then he runs outside with a flashlight and the bat. And then he goes and finds his son is in those
Yeah.
bushes in that same spot.
Oh yeah.
It's
I was totally
terrifying.
expecting the son to be the one who was like,
I think that's like the red herring of the film because I sort of did too.
And
But yeah,
so-
that moment where he moves the picture and the face is there scared the fuck out of me.
And so then he goes back out because the wife has woken up and they've woken the son up now and they've taken him back inside. And so he goes back out because he dropped his bat and he sees a black dog that's growling at him.
I honestly think the dog is good.
I think the dog
all
is
dogs
another.
are good.
No,
boys.
I think the dog is good because the dog is not necessarily growling at Ethan Hawke. It's growling at the devil kids behind Ethan Hawke that Ethan Hawke can't see. And as soon as those kids disappear, the dog stops growling and leaves.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I think the dog is another form that the demon has taken.
You think he's a black shuck?
What's a black shuck?
It's a demon in dog form.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly
It's
what I think.
specific to England, but yeah.
But yeah, it's a scary black dog. And so then as Ethan Hawke is trying to get away from trying to get his bat and just not get attacked by this dog, we see these 5 children standing in the shadows behind him.
Ghost children.
Yeah.
The only reason I know about the black shuck is because it's a darkness song.
So then the deputy comes over and he's like, "Look, dude, I got to level with you." The deputy's like, "I'm trying to help you, but I need to know what's going on." So this is when Ethan Hawke shows the deputy all of the evidence.
Oh, and then he's like, I see things and I'm hearing things at night.
Yeah. Things.
And this is when the deputy is like, well, you are getting shit-faced every night, so maybe it's that.
Yeah.
I think that you think you're seeing things,
This
but
is not when they have their heart to heart, but he's about to say it. And I think he's noticing this a little bit more.
Is this not the heart to heart? Is this not where he's
No,
like,
it's not the
you
heart to
moved
heart
into
yet.
this murder house?
Yeah. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't happened yet because the next thing that happens is the lawnmower video, which is the one thing that I remembered from this movie.
Fuck,
It
man.
Fucked
This-
me up, man.
I did not remember this.
Yeah.
Jesus
It's-
Christ.
Because it's called lawn work and you see a lawnmower, so you know what's going to happen, but it's like really dark and there's like a light shining on the ground right in front of the lawnmower and it's just running, and all of a sudden there's a face right under the lawnmower.
And it just runs it over. This is jump scary, but this is also just so creepy.
Yeah.
That like the jump scare got me, but it broke me. Like I'm not in a great mood right now. Like this really affected me. This whole fucking movie. Just,
Yeah, I don't like when people mow their lawns late because it keeps you up and it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then run over their kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I guess it was brother and sister. I
Yeah.
think that one was a little girl. So
Yeah, it was with like a poncho on because she
Yeah.
was about to.
well, you didn't want to get blood on your shirt. I get that. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
because it's jump scare effective, it's creepy atmosphere effective, and it's disturbing as fuck.
Yeah, this movie is mainly disturbing.
Yeah.
There were a lot of jump scares that
Yeah.
fucked me up, but this movie is really disturbing.
Yeah, it's really effective. And we got a video of Todd losing his shit over the lawnmower thing.
It's already posted in the Facebook group.
Oh, is it?
Nowadays, it'd be like the mowing Roomba. So she pushes mowing Roomba is trying to reposition the family to get in front of the mower.
And it would just like bump into the kid and move and then move around it.
The
and
cat
go
jumps on it for a little bit.
around. And then Tom Haverford comes out, puts an iPod dock
Yeah.
on it and starts.
DJ Mower Roomba.
Yeah, DJ Mower Roomba. I love it.
Dude, I do
And
too.
the demon's like, God, I hate that.
So the next thing that happens is we get to talk to Professor Vincent D'Onofrio.
He's one of my favorite actors.
He's so great in this specifically, but I mean in everything really. So Ethan Hawke gets hooked up with Vincent D'Onofrio through Detective So so-and-so,
Yeah,
or
he's
deputy
like, we talk to
so-and-so.
him sometimes when there's weird stuff we don't know
Right, and he's
about.
like a master of the occult.
Yeah, he's like the Dan Brown guy. Like he's a master of symbols and stuff.
Symbologize.
He's Tom Hanks.
He's Tom Hanks, only Vincent D'Onofrio.
yeah. They got a big name to be on a Skype call for
They
10
really
minutes.
did. But how much do you think they had to pay him just for that? Like, seriously, it's probably about a combined 10 minutes.
I
of the
bet that
movie.
was like his house. That was like his daughter walking by. He's like, yeah, I'm going to do this movie.
Did you notice that he says her name?
Yeah.
He says, thanks, Jessica. He's like, I'm only doing this if you give me $1 million for 3 minutes of work and I get to name drop my daughter.
Right, and his daughter just walked in like that video on the BBC, and they just didn't have enough money to pay him to do it again. So they kept it.
So the thanks Jessica was passive aggressive.
Thanks, Jessica.
We talked to Professor Vincent D'Onofrio, and he's talking to us a little bit about this demon and saying it's like a pagan god. And I've got some fun facts about this demon's mythology.
Is it a real demon?
No,
Oh.
but there's a little bit of backstory to it. But so he's explaining what this is, and he's just giving some facts. And I can't remember if there's anything more he does other than just be awesome, and his daughter wanders around.
I think he says
Give
like
some
that's a
facts.
really obscure
Just be
demon.
awesome.
People
Right.
wouldn't just accidentally use that, and then I'll have to research and get back to you or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then they hang up. So we hear creepy kid noises, and it starts with him being asleep, and he hears like the
Super 8
Oh,
footage.
yes.
the
Yeah.
Super 8 footage.
Oh, is this
sound.
also where we see the light on him?
I don't think it's quite yet.
Okay.
This is when he sees the creepy kids following him around the house, and it scared
I
the
don't think he
shit out
sees
of
them.
Todd. You're right. He doesn't see them.
This is where
He
we
sees
see them.
Yeah.
And I almost shit a brick.
Yeah. You almost
This scared the fuck out of me.
knocked over the table and the chair and the
I almost
soundboard.
fell out of the chair I was sitting in
It
for
was
sure.
very funny.
It was.
Because
It was
the
really
bitch gets right here. She's like an 8-year-old. I feel bad saying that. She's an actress and probably a very nice person. But like Ethan Hawke is walking with a bat in his hand and a flashlight or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he like moves out of frame and then you see this face right. Oh, it scared the
And I
fuck
think
out of
it's
me.
all filmed in slow motion and has an extra creepy effect in it.
Yeah.
It does,
But
yeah.
he's not in slow motion. It's just the kids that are in
That was
slow
why it's so.
motion.
It
Yes.
felt very uneasy.
They feel
Oh.
like they have come out of the Super 8. So they've kind of got
Yes.
that quality to them.
Oh,
And they've
good
got-
catch.
It looks like they're a little bit like porcelain doll cracked on their faces a little bit. I don't know if that's just from the Super 8
I think
look.
it's because the demon has been feeding on their souls.
Yeah, he's eating their souls.
No,
Yeah.
it's just dry air.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in the desert.
Yeah.
Super 8 worlds in the desert. It's very high, dry heat.
They need some
Mm-hmm.
Carmex.
Have we mentioned how dreamy Ethan Hawke is too? Because every time he's wandering around his house and he's bathed in moonlight and we see his profile and he's looking all concerned. Whew.
So anyway, the next thing we see is I think Ethan Hawke sits down on the couch with the bat at night, and then it becomes
Yeah,
the
he falls
sun
asleep.
comes
He falls
up,
asleep.
but I
and then he
do
wakes
think-
up there, and then he has that come to Jesus talk with the cop because
That's
he
right.
references that.
But I do think that we have seen the daughter and we know because he looks in on his daughter and then we see that
Yes.
she has been painting the 4 people that were murdered. And then the little Stephanie girl with the red headband is in the corner and she is seeing her. Yeah.
And she goes, shh. And Stephanie is the daughter of the family that hung themselves.
That's missing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we've answered that Post-it note.
Yeah.
He calls the deputy so-and-so because he's like, I heard things in the house again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Deputy so-and-so has a very heartfelt talk with him that's very nice.
He does, yeah, but I also kind of get this weird vibe from him that he doesn't really give a fuck. He's just kind of interested in this whole thing because he's like, well, I think you're drinking a little too much. And I notice every time I come in here, you're a little more twitchy and weird. And I mean, what would you expect if you moved into this murder house? And no, fuck, I would never move
No,
into
no, no.
this thing.
I'm going to take the deputy side here because you got to be honest when you're having a conversation with someone about stuff like this. You're drinking a lot. You moved into this house. He said you got into this headspace too quickly. It's really messing
Right.
with you. I believe you're seeing this stuff. I don't know if it's real or not. I don't
Right.
think it's real. I think you need to get out of this house and maybe get some distance between you and this murder.
Get some
Right.
perspective
Yeah.
or like just get out of the house, really.
But it's just, I don't know if it's this guy's delivery or because yes, he is saying a lot of really kind things and he's being really genuine and really helpful. But then later he's like, I mean, what were you fucking thinking moving into this house? What did you think?
That's
was gonna
also
happen?
honest. You got to be
No,
honest.
I
with people.
know.
Like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? Run into this murder house.
And I think the thing that cracked me up the most was he was like, no, fuck no, I would never move into this. What am I crazy? People
Yeah.
got murdered right there.
That was
No.
100% what I would have said.
Exactly.
Oh, that's the
yeah.
best line because Ethan Hawke's like, well, do you think it's real? Would you move in here? He's like, I would never move in here.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I totally think it's real. It's insane. I would never do that.
It's fun.
Yeah, so before they go to bed that night, That's when the daughter draws on but paints on the wall in some other bedroom, I think.
Out in the hallway.
In the hallway, yeah. She draws the tire swing.
And the girl with
and
the
the girl, the
red
dead girl,
on
Stephanie.
it.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. And she says, Stephanie used to live here. This is the girl. She's the one Daddy's writing about.
Right.
And so this is when the mom puts all the shit together. It's like, fuck, you moved us into the house.
And that's when Mom and Dad have a quick, abrupt, very angry conversation.
Can I talk to you in the other bedroom, please?
Yeah. Please? We need to talk right now.
And it's actually a pretty long fight, too.
Yeah, because he
should
pulls
be.
out the technicality immediately to lose the fight.
I know, and I loved it because she was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You knew what I was asking.
She goes, I asked you if we moved.
Oh, well, actually, you asked if we moved 2 houses down, so I didn't lie.
It's not like we're sleeping where they got murdered. They got murdered in the backyard. And she is like blown. It's just like, you could just see it on her face.
Oh, yeah, it's
what
amazing.
What the fuck are you doing?
I mean, besides the fact that they're arguing about people getting murdered, it was a pretty realistic couples fight.
I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ethan Hawke's a great actor. And I don't
is.
think his wife is a great actress, but she does a great job in this scene.
Mhm, I agree. Yeah, and I mean, she doesn't really have much of a part outside
No,
of the
she
scene
really
other
doesn't.
than just to continue this
Yeah.
fight throughout the movie. Yeah.
So then they go to bed after the fight.
Yeah.
And then you see the Super 8 footage looking at Ethan Hawke, and you sort of see his wife like cuddled up behind him.
And it looks like the camera of the Super 8.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think it was his daughter filming him for like the
Yes.
pre-murder footage?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think so.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he wakes up, when the light turns off, then he wakes up and hears the footsteps in the attic and the Super 8 footage sound effect.
Yeah, and
so
we
he
see
walks.
the flashes of the
Yes.
attic steps. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's walking towards the attic steps and he slowly climbs the attic steps and you see him sort of like peer his
over.
eyes out over the like.
And he looks terrified.
He really
Yeah,
does.
I'd be terrified too.
I wouldn't go up there.
Yeah, I
Is
just
this when
burned
he
the house
has the
down.
butcher knife? I think he had the butcher knife earlier.
Yeah, he put it in his mouth like a pirate.
Yeah, upstairs in my
He's
attic.
climbing that attic with a butcher knife in his mouth.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I'm not sure if this is when he does it, but
No, it
is
was
funny.
before.
Yeah.
But he's looking up there and he sees all the kids kind of kneeling, watching this footage.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the.
And they all turn and look at him and they do the shh.
Well,
thing.
you're not supposed to talk in movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop being
exactly.
rude,
It's
Ethan Hawke.
rude. Mm-hmm.
I don't care how dreamy you are.
Yeah, you can talk in my movie. All right. And so then we see Bagul, I think. Don't we see him in the screen? With
Yeah,
the
we see him in the
footage?
screen.
Yeah.
And then we see him right in front of Ethan Hawke's face.
Yeah. And it scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah, and Ethan Hawke, because this is when he falls down the steps.
He falls all the way down, like
Yeah.
to his ass. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the box falls out, and the pieces of it start to fall right almost on top of him, and he's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah,
the
it's
film,
terrifying.
the camera, all of the evidence.
Yeah, he's like, what else is going to fall on me?
And then once everything falls out of the attic, he collects it all and goes
Yeah.
and burns the fuck out of it.
Exactly.
Because that's what you have to do in that situation.
Yeah.
And then his wife comes outside and goes, what the fuck are you doing? It's like midnight and you're starting a fire. And he's like, get the kids. We're getting the fuck out of here.
She's like,
Yeah.
what? And he's like, you were right.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's
yeah.
like, oh, I was right. And she goes and gets the kids.
Yeah.
And what sucks about this is what he should have done this a long time ago, but this is what he's supposed to do at this moment, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
So they collect the kids and they get in the
yeah.
car and they
like
fucking
out
leave.
of bed in the middle of the
They
night.
bone the
Yeah.
fuck out.
Which
Yeah.
they already have another house that they can just go there
A
for.
bomb ass house.
Exactly. But then they get pulled over by the cops, who apparently are just kind of sitting outside their house.
Not just
kinda
any
waiting.
cop.
Yeah, Fred Thompson.
Yeah.
man.
Senator Fred Thompson.
He's on the
License
case.
and registration, man.
Uh-huh.
I do love how, like, when Ethan Hawke is like, nope, we're leaving. We're moving
Yeah.
out of town.
There's no book.
There's no book. I'm done with this whole life. And Fred Thompson's like, well, I guess I don't have to give you a ticket,
Yeah.
but keep it under 60 and get the fuck out of my county.
Yeah, until you're somebody else's
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got that small town justice.
So then we cut to them moving into a gigantic house, but they don't have very much furniture because, I mean,
Well, no, because they moved.
They had to send the movers to get the furniture to move the furniture into their giant ass house they left, Downton Abbey. And he goes back to his new investigation room with a giant fireplace, Scrooge McDuck style.
that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. This is a
In
much
the servants' quarters, you just see a post-it note that says, if Ethan's gone, am I even a valet? Like a bunch of string connecting the maps to where they moved. Anyway, but during this time when they're in the new Downton Abbey house, he's getting calls from Deputy so-and-so
Yeah, and
that he's ignoring.
Right, exactly. And so then he gets a call from Professor D'Onofrio.
Yes.
He's showing all of these images that he's finally scanned because this is such an obscure demon that there's just not a ton of research. And he's talking to him and he's telling him all the stuff that's been happening. And we start to see the picture of the scorpion and the picture of the snake. And I
Yes.
think there's a picture of a dog too.
Oh, is it? I
that
didn't
would
see
be
the one
good.
with the dog.
think
Okay.
so. And so Vincent D'Onofrio is saying, like, this is a demon who would hunt children and devour them. He may have already said that. But he also says that they hadn't scanned these because they believed that he lived inside these images, and that once you saw these images, he could get you that way because you see them, and
It's
that's
a door to his realm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
yeah.
said that most people destroyed all the images of him because they were fearful.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then Ethan Hawke was like, well, fuck, I just watched a bunch of these images.
Well, and
but
he
Ethan
burned
Hawke's
all
like,
of them.
Yeah, he goes, what if you burn them? Like, if you burn them, would
Yeah.
that close the door?
That's it, right? And Vincent D'Onofrio's like,
He's like, what kind of book are you writing?
Yeah.
He sees him like taking it for serious. He's like, what kind of book are you writing?
right.
Jessica,
Yeah.
where's my goddamn tea?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, okay. And then just like ends the Skype call.
Well, yeah, and then he deletes all the footage that he took of the Super 8 footage.
Yes.
Because those are images.
Yeah.
So at this point in his mind, he's like, okay, so I've destroyed all the images. I burned the Super 8 footage back at the other house.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
I
drinking
deleted
during this
all
whole
of my
time.
shit.
Yeah. I've moved out of the house.
I deleted all the Super 8 footage off of my hard drive of my MacBook Pro, and
Yeah.
I emptied my trash can. So we should be
But
good.
that motherfucker forgot about the cloud.
Yeah, man.
And in this movie, the cloud is represented by the box of home movies that is now in his new attic
That's true.
in Downton Abbey house.
In the upstairs.
Oh, yeah. He like takes the rest of the box to go up there.
Yeah, I think he's just moving boxes up there because they're now moving back into the house. I don't think he
Which is
hears
what you
noises.
do at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Sure, but and then he sees the home movies boxes that it looks exactly like it.
But before he sees the home movies box, he takes the call from Deputy So-and-so.
Yes, he
Oh,
does.
yeah.
And Deputy So-and-so is like, dude, we've got a big problem. You moved. And he has started to piece all of these addresses together. And let me make sure, because sometimes when I try to think through this, it confuses me a little bit. Each of the victims has lived in the house where the murder previously took place.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real easy.
Okay, so let's say family A lives in a house
Uh-huh.
and gets murdered there. Then the next family moves into that house.
And then
Yes.
they move to a new place.
And then once they
get
move
murdered.
to the new place, that's when they get murdered. And then family C moves into this house and then starts to get haunted. And once they move out of that house, they get murdered in their new house. Then family D moves in. So this is how it is.
Why is that confusing for
I
you?
don't know why it's so confusing to me.
That's
It's like
super
a-
easy.
yeah, it's
Moving
like
is hard.
Yeah, it's like a trail of dead families.
Yeah. So like family A is murdered in a house. After a month or so, family B moves in. They acquire the curse.
Right,
And then
right,
they get
right.
haunted and haunted and haunted, and that forces them to move. And then as soon as they move, they get murdered in that new house.
Starting the curse in a new house.
Right. So
Yeah.
the curse now lives in that house. Someone moves into that house. They're immediately cursed. They start to get haunted until they want to move. They move, murdered again.
It's like the Grudge is just flipping houses all over the country.
I actually like this, like The Conjuring, because it always defeats Todd's burn it philosophy. I like
Yeah.
it when things follow you.
No, burn it would have worked. So family A gets murdered. No one moves in the house. People come and just burn it down. That's the end of it.
That's true. Yeah.
That's just called arson because there's no demon or anything at first.
No, there was a demon.
Well, they don't know it. They haven't moved there.
I
Well,
wonder
then
how that-
family B in house 2, burn that shit down.
Or you could just live with it forever and be like, well, fuck you, I'm not moving.
No, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah.
No, fuck that.
Because
You're gonna
there's
live
no
with me.
way that you would know that. And so, like,
And also, you're being haunted. Like, it's a very scary things are happening in your house.
right, yeah.
You're going to move.
And this is how this kind of thing has avoided being detected for so long, that there's a connection because it's never happening in the same house. And that's just something.
And
I
they're
don't know
also
if you
like 12 years apart. Every
Exactly.
Time.
Yeah.
So they finally pieced it together, and he's like, well, fuck, I just moved out of this house. So now, like, if it is a serial killer, because Cop still doesn't know it's a demon, Cop's like, you're probably his next target, so you're probably fucked.
Which to me says even if they stayed in the same house, the kid would have murdered them.
What?
Because it's not a serial killer.
No, it's a demon.
It's a demon. I don't think the moving part was necessary for them to be murdered.
I think it is absolutely necessary for them to get murdered.
I think that's how it spreads it.
No, I think every family got scared and coincidentally moved.
No. It happened too many times.
Well, then why do they have to move?
Well, because it happened so far apart, too. Because, like, theoretically, these families lived in these houses for, like, 10, 12 years and then moved. And so maybe the haunting just, like, it awoke or something. I don't know. Or maybe they didn't have kids that were old enough to murder them, so the demon had to wait
the demon
for the
had
kids
to wait
grow
for like
up.
10 years. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like it was a
The
starter
demon's
family.
just sitting there by the crib like, all right, 9 more
Right.
years.
Or they move in, it's like single people, like, oh, you got to start dating, bro.
Yeah.
You think there's a demon at my house that's like super pissed? Like,
Yeah.
I've been waiting.
He's like,
So
oh
long.
God, I want to possess your children and make them murder you. But like,
Yeah.
you are striking out so much.
Oh.
Stop throwing their purses.
I try to throw their purse and it like floats back, and I'm like, God, darn it! There's a demon trying to get me laid, and
That's me, Mikey. I'm not a demon.
All right, so
I'd
then
watch that show.
demon.
Just like a single guy trying to hook up and a demon trying to make him hook up, but then he keeps screwing it up and the demon keeps trying to fix it.
Oh, fuck. Showing him all this like Super 8 videos of everything he keeps doing
Yeah.
wrong on his dates.
Yeah, there's like a creepy head behind my shoulder, and he's like, "Don't send that dick pic, bro."
Right.
Ah!
No, don't text her back. She's a grudge. All right, so the box is back, and we already said that, but he did find the videos. Oh, and then inside the box, he finds extended scenes, like
Yes.
a little
Oh, and
envelope.
he's been drinking the whole time.
Yes, yeah. And so now we have, I said it was a video splicing montage.
It is.
Because
yeah.
there's lots of like different silhouettes of him cutting this footage together. And so-
Question group. If you found the creepy box that appeared in your Downton Abbey, you found a thing that said
I feel like that's a
extended
euphemism.
cut. Would you take the time to edit them all together? Or
No.
I would burn it again.
No, I burned the house down.
yeah. But if you're shit faced, maybe you just take a chance. you know?
No, it's dumb. It's
Yeah.
so dumb. Anyway, so he cuts the footage back together, watches them, and at this point, this is when it shows all the murders again, but then shows it's the kids.
Yeah, the kid starts climbing down the tree and goes up to the camera and says, "Shh."
That's Stephanie.
Stephanie, yeah.
Right. And then it shows the pool murder scene and the car murder, the car fire murder scene.
Yeah, and we
And
see
it's
that
all
the
the kids.
kids have done all of this.
Right.
Yeah. So he gets up and he's all disturbed, but he's also kind of a little woozy. And he goes
Yeah.
and looks in his drink and he notices there's like a neon blue roofie down there.
Yeah,
or
why would you
something.
ever notice that?
And so he
Right.
starts to kind of pass out and we see his daughter standing all creepy right behind him. And she's got an axe. And
Don't worry, Daddy. I'll make you famous.
Mhm. Oh, it's creepy.
Yeah.
And so he's getting what he wants, you know?
I don't think he's getting what he wants. Yeah.
It's like a monkey's paw kind
He's getting
of
what he needs.
thing, you know?
Maybe. That may be true. But his wife and a son are not getting what they need.
No, they're
No.
not. So they wake up, he wakes up and they're all tied up and she's got the axe and she records him and then she puts the camera down right next to him. And then we don't really see him getting
No, we
chopped.
don't see it. At this point, honestly, the movie is not scary. It's off the rails at this point for me.
Yeah.
But that's more or less the end of the movie because
Well, so we see her walking through the halls and we see
Completely
the blood
bloody,
all
yeah.
over the walls and we see that she's painted the symbols and the blood.
Yeah, she's painting some stuff.
And then we see the kids coming down the hall with her and starting to join her. And then she's drawing her version of the portrait.
and the things that she's drawing in that the top of the box, the whole movies box, is like her mom, dad, and brother beheaded and like cut in half.
Yeah, and
It's real
dismembered.
fucked up. Yeah.
It is. And she's got blood all over her.
the Super 8's projector's playing in the background. The kids are watching her draw from the projection.
Mhm. Yeah, they're inside it. And then we see Bagul right behind her.
Yeah, and then
And
pick
they
her
all
up.
run away when they see him. And he picks her up. And we don't actually see. The next cut we see is him walking with her down the hall inside the projection.
Yeah.
And then we see, bam, we see his face. Right, for one very last jump
He
scare.
last action heroed her.
And that's the movie.
Yeah.
Woo.
All right, let's do final thoughts real quick.
Lighthearted. I really liked it. I thought it was really effective. I dug it. I thought it was a good story. Ethan Hawke is a super dreamboat. Yeah, this is the kind of dark, disturbing movie that really scares me a lot and I really like.
I hated this movie. It was terrifying. Like, not the scariest movie ever, but up there. I hated it.
Now, okay, did you hate it, thought it was bad, or did you hate it, it terrified you?
Hated it. It terrified me. It wasn't like The Nun where it was just scary
Yeah.
for no reason. This was scary and effectively scary. And I could say it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But I think it's stupid that anyone wrote this and created it. And I don't understand why this type of art exists. But I can see that it was done well and executed very well.
Yeah.
But I hated it. I'd never watch this shit again.
It is real dark because we've just watched Pet Sematary and a lot of that is about the fear of your children dying. But this one is more like the fear of who your children are going to be.
Yeah, I thought it holds up well. I was really impressed with all the sound design and the soundtrack and the sound effects. I thought it was really good.
It really was.
It kept a really creepy vibe and like the tone of it was really good. I agree with Todd that the lighting wasn't great.
Dude, yeah. And I think that had to have been an intentional choice.
Yes, but it was too much.
There is one scene where it's him talking to the deputy in a doorway and you cannot see their faces.
No.
You really, it's
Right.
so
It's
dark
infuriating.
that you see the silhouette.
It makes it look like it is a college film that they just didn't quite know how to get the exposure right.
But everything else in the film is done so well that I think it was an intentional choice. And I think they just wanted to make it really as dark and creepy as they could.
Yeah, that doesn't make it creepy to me. It honestly infuriates me because of what I do. Like, I know how to fix that shit, and it drives me insane when people are making stupid choices.
But I think it's like very suspenseful. I think it holds up. I think the plot to me is better the second time because it's more about Ethan Hawke's destruction of himself due to his own choices and the destruction of his family. I think it holds up as a film, and it is very creepy.
So let's talk box office because this actually did pretty well. What do you guys think the budget was for Sinister?
$16 million.
$16 million?
I think I know.
What do you think it is?
Is it 6?
Nope. It's a wicked number 6. No, it's $3 million.
Whoa!
It cost them $3 million to make.
I thought D'Onofrio was more.
Honestly, though, it really is sort of a single location movie.
It really is.
Right. But the effects were good.
Yeah, I think
they
so
were.
too. I really do. So it was $3 million to make. It came out in October, so it got the Halloween creepy buzz, and it grossed $48 million domestically and made another 30 or so foreign. So it made like $77 million worldwide, which is an insane return on investment on that.
Yeah,
so of course they made a second one. But yeah, like this movie was a hit for its budget. In its first week out, it came out October 12th. In its first week out, it was the third highest grossing movie that weekend. Taken 2 was the first, and Argo was the second.
Oh, I love Argo.
Me too. Yeah, let's do some Gen fun facts.
So this was rated R, and they really wanted it to be PG-13. And other than there's really not that much blood, and there's really not that much violence that you actually see. A lot of it is implied violence and implied gore. Other than the blood that we see on the walls at the end, there's not a whole lot. And they were trying to get a PG-13 rating by doing that. But it got an R based on content because it's like you're watching families get murdered over and over again.
It's fucking terrifying.
I know. I'm not sure how they thought they were going to get a PG-13. Ethan Hawke's name in this is Ellison Oswalt, and that is based on Harlan Ellison. Do you know who he is?
No.
I think he's a writer. And Patton Oswalt.
I know Patton Oswalt.
Yeah. So apparently Patton Oswalt has a book too, and those were just 2 books on the shelf of the writer's study, and that's what he named his character after.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. So
Patton Oswalt's a hilarious comic.
Oh, he is amazing. Yeah, I love him. And speaking of Patton Oswalt, his wife wrote a lot of true crime before she died. His late wife. Yeah, I know.
She was actually writing about the Golden State Killer, which they actually found.
Yeah, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, I think is the book. Yeah. Yeah, you should check that out on Audible too. This was inspired by a nightmare that the writer had after watching The Ring. And I think he dreamed about this creepy character and started writing. I
think this is scarier than The Ring.
I think it's scarier than The Ring too.
That would be one shit dream.
Yeah, dude. The demon's name is Bagul, but it was originally going to be named Mr. Boogie. And it was inspired by like a sinister Willy Wonka type character that like lures children and does when they were trying to think of a concept for this demon, because what they originally wanted they thought would be a little silly, and so they were trying to darken it up a lot. And so he just like Google searched horror imagery on Flickr, you know, that pic site. And so he narrowed it down to like 15, and he found one that he really liked, and it was similar to this, and he paid the photographer $500 for the rights to this image.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what he used. Yeah. Do you know what the picture's name was?
No.
What?
Natalie.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I think Mr. Boogie is not a good name for a demon.
I don't
think
that's
not the name of the demon, actually.
That's what I like naming.
It's Bagul,
Yeah.
It's all synonyms for boogers that I flick away.
Gross. So speaking of Bagul, he is the mythology that Vincent D'Onofrio was talking about is that he's a pagan Babylonian god. And they originally were going to make him an actual demon, but they made him a pagan deity so he would not be tied to any kind of specific religion. And he is...
Except for paganism.
Right, exactly. But not like religion, like,
sure,
you know.
Nobody who's going to write a mean letter nowadays.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
The Druids don't get super angry about shit anymore.
Nah. But he is closely tied to the actual myth of Moloch, which is a similar kind of, he would like burn children or something. And if you've read the third Dexter, the deity Moloch is in the third Dexter book. So the tree hanging scene was done by all stunt people, but the stunt coordinator fucked it up, and these people were actually hanging and choking, and so the stunt coordinator got fired for putting all of those people in danger.
Jesus.
I know. And
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that's
it
horrible.
really is. I know. Okay, so speaking of terrifying, the pool scene was really difficult to do, and they had to be really careful because they had to actually tie those actors to those chairs and actually pull them underwater.
No.
And the actor that was playing Bagul was actually underwater, and they had to weight him down so that they could record it. Because they wanted it to look like real Super 8 footage, they used Super 8 cameras to do all of that stuff.
This is so creepy.
It really is. I mean, could you imagine being one of those actors? There's no way I would sign up for that.
You could never pay me enough for that.
No. Yeah. And I think everybody was okay, but it was like they had to be super careful, especially after the tree thing got fucked up. So, yeah, they're lucky they didn't kill somebody. And those are my fun facts.
Yay!
Oh, you did a depressing one.
Well, I can end with a Jen's Fun correction because we did get a Corrections Corner listener submission because Jen kind of skims fun facts sometimes.
Jen half-assed fun facts.
No, it's that I know so much that sometimes all of the things that I know get mixed up a little bit in my brain.
And I think maybe 5 or 6 times on this recording you said, I'm always right.
I am.
So tell me how you were wrong once.
Well, okay, so I said in The Grudge that Sarah Michelle Gellar did not remember that Bieber Sr. was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that is not true. She did remember that Bieber Sr. was on that show with her. She did not remember that Clay Duvall was on that show with her. And the reason she didn't remember is because Clay Duvall played a character who was often invisible. And so all of the scenes that they shared together, Clay Duvall wasn't actually in them because her character was invisible at the time. So, hey, listener Jane, thank you so much for sharing that fun fact. And
emailing us.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's
it was awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
info@horrorvirgin.com if you want to email us.
And look, as long as you're nice, like I fuck shit up all the time. We're not like we're not going to be sad about it as long as you're nice. So let us know. All right, so scary scale. Hey guys, our scary scale is a ranking we use to say how scared we were by this movie. It's not a ranking of the quality of the film. It is how scared we were tonight when we watched it. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters. Our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, and I think we're going to have some high numbers on this one.
Yeah.
Todd, what you got?
Can I ask what I gave it? I already know what I'm going to give this. I'm going to give it an 8. What did I give it?
You gave it a 9.
Okay, good. Because this, I think, was very, very scary. Not as scary as it.
Okay, what
but
you're giving this an 8?
Very scary. Yeah, 8
Yeah.
for sure.
You
The jump scares were effective, but the overall creepiness of the entire movie, I hated it.
So for comparison, you also gave The Collector an 8 and you gave The Conjuring an 8. Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah, Mikey?
I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 as well.
Nice.
Because I do feel like there's not a lot of jump scares, but it just, like I said, it just builds this tone of oppression and ominence
Mhm.
that increases throughout. It's like a weight is slowly added onto you throughout the film.
Yeah.
And then it just ends with everyone getting murdered.
Yeah. I'm going to give it an 8 also.
And I usually don't like movies where no one makes it out.
Well, and so here's the thing with this movie, because it's just relentless. And there are so few times that like it lightens up, or it's daytime. It's so much of just dark
It never does
scariness. And because we don't get those jump scares, like when you get a big jump scare, you are scared and then you laugh and it like releases that pressure and you just don't get that many. So you're just constantly on edge throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And so on top of that, it's super fucking disturbing what's happening in this movie. We're watching basically recreations of snuff films.
Yeah, this 1000% does not feel like a movie. It feels like a punishment.
It gets a Super 8.
It does get a Super 8.
Holy shit, yeah.
Nice, yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, guys.
Hey, and this was your listener suggestion. We said, let's scare Todd to death. And I think you really delivered on this.
I need
Good
some
job,
lighter
guys.
movies. This past like 2-3 episodes have fucked me over.
Well,
got you.
Todd, you're in luck because
I'm going to make us watch a childhood favorite of mine.
Nice.
Not House 1, House 2.
So we're watching the sequel? We're not watching the first?
Yeah, and I thought about it, but
I'm gonna
we've
be
not
so
watched
lost.
the sequel yet, and I guess we'll do it without watching the first one.
Do you think
Okay.
we'll be able to pick up the strands of the first one?
I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
There- it's
You
more
call
like
it Jumanji for haunted
it's
houses?
it's horror house Jumanji.
All right.
And from the research I've done so far, like there is very little connection between the first movie and the second movie.
No.
All right. Well, we'll see that. Make sure you guys watch House 2 before next week. So we are a member of the Modern Horrors Podcast Network. So if
Yes,
you're
we
listening
are.
to us in their feed, switch over to our feed get it 2 days earlier on Monday and not Wednesday.
48 hours.
Yeah.
But if you listen to us in the Modern Horrors feed, you get, of course, their podcast, but also On Death, Dying, and Other Things, and Final Girls.
Yeah.
I have a real question. Did they get our special episodes if they're not on our feed?
Like the bonus episodes?
Yeah.
They do not.
Yeah. So check out, because we just dropped an awesome bonus episode where we got to interview Todd's man crush.
Yeah, like our
Bazelle.
we'll drop stuff like our live shows and interviews and stuff if you subscribe to our feed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so you should subscribe to both feeds.
But also visit our website at horrorvirgin.com for the blog and links to our merch and stuff like that.
Yep.
Obviously, if you want to follow us on social, please do. We are at Horror Virgin pretty much everywhere. But if you want to follow Jen specifically, that's at Jen Ferratu on Instagram and Twitter. Mikey is mrandolph24 on Instagram and Twitter. I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the socials. And we are all always in the Facebook group. So join the Facebook group. We have a lot of fun up there. We actually have questions of the day, all that shit. Like, I mean, we probably have like 10 to 15 posts a day.
It's really starting to come alive.
From people
it's really
in the community. Yeah, it's
somebody's
awesome.
going back through the episodes. Raven is going back through the episodes and like posting quotes.
Yeah.
Of, like stuff I don't remember us saying.
Oh, yeah. She quoted me and I was like, I don't know the context of that. But it sounds funny.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go with it. Yeah.
One of the new members just posted this. I've always loved scary movies, mostly just watching them and thinking about them a little and sort of moving on. I love the podcast for the obvious laughs, but also Jen Ferratu's takes on them. I like how she puts herself in the character's position and her perspective as a wife and mother.
Oh, thank
It gives
you.
the movies a creepier / scarier and deeper meaning for me, and I love it.
Oh, she likes my projections.
Yes.
Thank you. That's awesome.
That was Mary from the Facebook group.
Oh, thanks, Mary.
So guys, join the Facebook group. It's a lot of fun. And if you want to help support the podcast financially, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgins and signing up for one of our awesome levels there.
And we talked a lot about that at the beginning of the episode, too.
We did.
We understand not everybody's able to financially support
Right.
the podcast. And one of the best ways that you can support us totally for free is just telling your friends about us, downloading, and leaving us 5-star reviews and comments. We've been getting a lot of really great ones. We love it. That really means a lot to us, too. Thank you so much for doing that. And Mikey's got a review to read right now.
I've got a review here from Jordan Van Hooser. He says, my wife is unable to watch most horror films with me,
Oh my God.
as it will provoke legitimate tears of terror. I love her and I think she's wonderful, so I
Aw.
protect her from these emotions.
Oh.
I wish I had
Sometimes
someone like that for me.
Of course, Ethan Hawke had been a little more like that in this movie.
Sometimes, though, I have bad thoughts.
Uh-oh.
What?
Show her John Carpenter's The Thing. Maybe she can handle it, I think to myself, before remembering how disgusting and intense that film is, and I ignored the thought. The Horror Virgin podcast is like the sweet release I've been waiting for. Some very good friends have decided that the scaredy cat in their group, named Todd, needed to be thrown into the deep end of the horror cinema experience. And it's a joy to listen to.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed
Now my marriage can remain intact.
Yay! We are saving marriages.
Nice.
While Jen and Mikey strain their excellent friendship with Todd. That's a strong words.
Loose acquaintanceship.
Aw.
For my entertainment. If you love movie podcasts, subscribe to these wonderful people. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you.
And
Thank
Mikey,
you.
Jordan.
I gotta say, you really delivered on that reading today. Well done.
Well rehearsed, Mikey.
You guys, I've been trying to
I've
read
been
it.
practicing.
So
Nice.
I know words.
Are you gonna read it out loud?
Duh. I'm audible.com/horror virgin trial
This whole
/ Mikey.
time?
/Mikey.
So if you listen to the Cinema Sins podcast, there is a new kind of spin-off show called This Week in Sin, which is kind of like an after the show with Frank. I just guested on that podcast, and we talked a lot about a bunch of random stuff, but we also talked about The Nun a lot, which we've mentioned in this show as kind of just wacky, creepy nonsense. But yeah, so check that out. It's called This Week in Sin, and we'll post it on our feeds, and you can find it in iTunes. Another thing we forgot to say, on the Facebook group, Emmy Holiday has been hosting like online
watch parties.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if you can't watch some of the, or you don't know where to find some of these movies, or you just kind of want to watch along
Or
and
if you're too
comment.
scared, you have a group to watch. them with.
Exactly.
Or you can't afford to buy one of the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
We don't know who's listening.
Good.
Are you going to get us arrested?
Yes.
Not me. Are you going to get Emmy arrested?
Oh, yeah. No, never. Not in our Facebook group. But yeah, so if you want to
It's
watch the
private.
movie with people, and like the dumb movies are real fun to watch and just comment
They
along
are.
with too. Yeah, so check that out.
House 2's not dumb.
I have
We'll get
no
into
evidence to make a decision yet, but I will remain open-minded. All right. Hey, that's going to be it from us, everybody, this week. Thank you so much for listening to us. I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
Have an amazing week.
We'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Nerds.